We're starting the live stream. Going live on the Twitter. I don't care if you call it X. I still call it Twitter. Sometimes I call it X. But most of the time, it's Twitter. Here we are. We're live streaming on Twitter. I need to check my account here. Make sure that it's actually streaming. And that I can be heard. It is live. Let's see. There I am. Gonna like my own post because I am my biggest fan. This is going to be archived up onto YouTube. So when I share my screen and I show you the charts, if you want, you can go back and look at it. It will be up later on the YouTube. But for now, you're stuck with me and my AstroLunaChick screensaver, which I drew, by the way. That was a chalk board. It was actually, if you really want to know, I was at a restaurant and the table was a chalkboard. And, they give you chalk and let you have at it. And that's what I came up with. God, I mean, that was 10 years ago. I did that about 10 years ago, and it's still with me because it's a part of me. Notice the Saturn and the Chiron for good measure. We're going to talk about Chiron today. Also, we're going to talk about Mars and Venus on this Libra moon. How's everybody? I hope you're all doing well. I hope that everyone's Valentine's weekend was fabulous. Mine was just amazing. I bought my mother chocolate truffles, which means I'll get to eat some of those because, she can't eat them all by herself. And yeah, that was pretty much my Valentine's Day. I don't really get excited about that anymore. Um, Yeah, so I am my own Valentine. And of course, us women are always supporting one another. And I have a few lovely friends. We wish one another happy Galentine's Day to remind us that just because you're alone and single doesn't mean you're not lovely or that you're not lovable. And sad that we have to remind ourselves and each other of that. However, it is a cultural phenomenon. Somehow it raises your property value. If you are romantically linked to someone, it automatically means that you're desirable, right? Okay, we're not even going to debate that one. But it's very interesting. I've had a couple of weird dreams. I don't always remember my dreams, but over the last couple of days, I've had a few dreams that I've remembered. One of them was a crazy work dream, one of those things where uh, I used to wait tables and worked in bars and restaurants for years. So it was a waitressing dream. And if you've ever worked in a restaurant, you know what that means. That means that your section is full and everybody's out back smoking. You're the only one working. The wait station is not stocked, blah, blah, blah. I've had so many of those over the years. It's crazy. But this one actually was weird because while there was other wait staff. Uh, the problem was there was no floor plan. So I had a section I generally knew kind of where it was, but I mean, there were tables being sat. I didn't know if they were mine. So I go to look. Nobody's drawn up a floor plan assigning people a station so everybody knows like what tables they have. So, of course, I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, whose job is this? Why hasn't this been done? Who's in charge here? God, I've worked at so many of those places. And what ends up happening? Of course, being the Capricorn, I step up and take charge and end up running the place, though not, I don't get the manager's salary or the glory or anything like that. But it's usually the Capricorns that tend to run things because we're there, because we step up, because we're reliable, because we kind of know how things need to function and just end up taking leadership roles, I guess. So that was one weird dream. And then there was another one early this morning. I won't get into it. All I'll say is it involved a, a large white cat. It was not a house cat. It was probably a tiger or something like that, curled up on my bed, like a pet. Uh, and then it disappeared and I couldn't find it. So I was putting up signs, like missing. Have you seen my, I'm not going to say it. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Oh God, let me not. But anyway, so I'm just happy to announce the dreams are back. The astral world is very active, I guess. I'm always active. I know that. I know that from my chart that I am very active in my dreams, but I don't always remember them, you know? So I'm either just not meant to know or it's, just psychological crap that you're working out. But I always know when I remember my dreams that there's something going on. So I've yet to think about the one from this morning and suss that all out. However, in prepping for the show this morning, as I was doing my work and research, I was listening to some fantastic songs. And, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. And I found myself listening to a whole stream of consciousness and like channeling my inner 10-year-old. So we're looking at, yeah, I probably would have been 10 to 12 years old and listening to songs from that time period. And I'm just reminded how much I love, 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 love uh, just the music and the genre from that time. Well, you would call it yacht rock or boomer, boomer music or whatever you want to call it. But I love the harmonies and um, the guitars and the rhythm and the bass and all of that from that time period. So if you think about music, popular music, as mind control programming, it sounds so horrible, but you know what? It's, I'm sorry, but it becomes part of our psyche. And, you know, uh, I mean, I just have to say that what's part of my psyche is Lindsey Buckingham and Frankie Valley and the Four Seasons. Who loves you, pretty baby, right? And what else was I listening to today? I tweeted like I tweeted so much. Uh, yeah, I I tweeted my musical stream of consciousness, channeling my inner child from the 70s and Poco. Oh, I was listening to Poco. because YouTube gives you a whole like up next, whatever, whatever. But God damn, Lindsey Buckingham, man, his solo stuff, his guitar playing, his harmonies on World Turning with Christine McVie. Oh God, it just transported me back to a time and a feeling. So then you know, that's what I sat in while I was doing my astrology homework and preparing for the show. And of course, I'm like, all right, where's this feeling? Where is this? What is coming through here? And of course, we have the moon in Libra, ruled by Venus, and Venus is in Mars. And I'm listening to beautiful music and harmonies made by Mars masculine men and thinking about how like fucking cool these dudes look like in like aviator glasses and the beards and the longish hair. I don't know. That was hot to me, you know, as a young female growing up and romanticizing and thinking about like the older like ah, like the Kenny Loggins, like for me that would have been older, but still like that wasn't that old. But like now he's like what, 90s? Is he 100? Is he is he even alive? It's like my dating pool is dying dying off. But anyway, you know, you realize why you're attracted to or you like the things that you do because it's in there. It's embedded in your psyche. And after a pretty flat Valentine's Day, it got me thinking, I have these whiffs of inspiration every once in a while where I think, oh, maybe I should think about dating. Something I've never done, like dating in the traditional sense. But, you know, the moon is in Libra. We're thinking about relationships, of course. And Venus is in Aries and she's solo, or thinking about being solo, or just, being her independent self has no bearing on whether someone's in a relationship or not. But we're seeing examples of this, you know, you know, we've had men going their own way, MGTOW, and so the females that I know that are not in relationships are very strong and independent and have a really good sense of self-esteem. They don't want to be alone. I'll tell you what, they're not alone because they want to be alone. They're not alone because they don't like men. They're alone because the men that they come across are not suitable suitors. Let's just put it that way. I'm not here to pick on men. I love men. I am all about it. I love men. I love my male friends. And, you know, I have no issue with men. However, I do make observations. And of course, all of our opinions and views are shaped by our own experiences. So I could tick off a lot of things that have made me scratch my head and wonder and puzzle at what the hell is up with men. I don't get it. And I constantly remind myself, listen, this is just what you personally have observed, and it is not a representative of the whole male population. It's just karma. It's karma, and it's something, we all have karma. We all have something we need to work out. We all have something, let's say, from our family lineage line that we're trying to break the cycle of. So I know from whence I came and I know where I'm going. So it's all good. I'm just standing here as an observer. So, uh, yeah. If you're on Twitter X, I just tweeted out an update, like a part two-ish to um my pinned post, which was when will things change? Soon. And then I gave a bunch of dates of the Jupiter going direct, um, what if Uranus going direct, Mars goes direct on the 23rd of this month. So things are moving forward. So I wanted to talk about Mars today, since the moon being in a Venus ruled sign and Mars being in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So that's the feeling, the nostalgia, the perhaps reflecting on the past, trying to let go. We are working through a lot of stuff, and it is family lineage crap. It is family lineage crusty crap. So, um, what are we looking at here? We're looking at Mars in retrograde, out of bounds, which is the planet acting very not characteristic of itself. Mars is like turned inside out and upside down, like that Diana Ross song, upside down. Boy, you turn me. No, I won't start singing. I've always threatened. I would love to be able to play music. I should have been a DJ. If I had my own show, I'd be talking about my astrology. I'd be like shading all kinds of pop culture. That's my ideal dream radio show where I get to play what I want, where it's not on auto play by some stinking corporate radio, but I get to play what I want. Maybe someday that will happen, but um, and then I get to just like shoot the shit in whatever way I want. However, can't do that. Uh, so so yeah, I was taking a really hard look at Mars because it's causing people problems. It's difficult. It's like that problem child, that cranky, that spoiled, that passive aggressive, just fuckery. It's just fuckery. And it's time for fucking Mars to grow up. All right. This is like what my girlfriends and I privately would refer to as baby man syndrome, where, you know, um, it's just like, dude, grow up. Like, this is uh, just be responsible for your feelings and your actions, It's like, what feelings are out of control that are putting your actions off kilter and making you act like a douche? What is it? Not you personally, but whatever. There's somebody out there that this describes. I don't know, and it's not personal to men. This is, there are females that I know that are embodying this energy. So it's hard for Cancer. It's hard for Aries. It's hard for Libra. And it's definitely hard for Capricorn because let's say Mars is very happy in Aries, it's his home sign. Cancer, not so much. Fire planet, water sign, doesn't process emotions very well, though he's trying. He's trying to he's trying to get over the past and he's saying, how did I get here? And really fucking cranky because he's probably blaming it on other people. When I say he, I'm talking about the planet, okay? Mars is blaming it on other people, and blaming the family, blaming, this is Mars, dysfunctional Mars. Okay. So if Mars could be any more dysfunctional right now, if we could look at the anger and the abuse, um, substances and repressed anger, passive aggressive patterns, um, just really dysfunctional males in the family. And, you know, um, I see also a lot of, for people who have Saturn in Pisces, this is definitely bringing up a lot of stuff from the father. It's connected to the father. And um, so, in addition to all of those negative traits that Mars can have, being retrograde, out of bounds, in a sign that he's not comfortable, like, could it be any worse? But it's forcing us to really look at whether it's as an individual or a culture, um, how men have acted, you know, uh, going all the way up to the top, people are really looking at, let's say, leaders, politics, anyone who has a place of responsibility, fathers, coaches, bosses, all of that has been under heavy review during this Mars retrograde, out of bounds in Cancer. Um, Maybe looking at the past and saying, maybe it wasn't what I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't, you know, the good old days weren't always so good and tomorrow's not as bad as it seems. A lot of review and looking at things as they stand today and not pointing the finger. It's not the other guy. We can't blame our parents anymore. When we grow up, we don't have to repeat the patterns. And with all the buried anger, it's like, well, that was 20 years ago, that was 30 years ago, that was 50 years ago, or that was in a lifetime that you were not even here for. And it's the fuckery of your ancestors. And you're still caught in that loop. And, you know, we're here to break the cycles. Like, we're system busters, especially if you're here listening to astrology. You're supposed to break those karmic patterns. It's on you. So, whatever it is, and whatever it was, that's what we're kind of working through. And there's a lot to do with men and women, masculine and feminine, that's not really on the same page right now. I'm just going to say that generally speaking, of course, everyone's mileage will differ, but we're kind of looking at it. If we don't really see it playing out, it's still kind of affecting us. It's more directly affecting you, obviously, if you have planets in Aries or Cancer, Libra, or they're making aspects. You could be observing this, or it could just be something that's sort of stirring in the background, like that niggling little feeling like, why do I not feel okay? I don't know if most people really go any further than that other than to say, ugh, I'm just in a shitty mood, right? But I don't know. I've always been super introspective, you know, maybe maybe I do too much nasal navel gazing, but I'm an introspective type and I observe and I report. But I observe these things and I look at it in myself like just going about the course of my day and all of a sudden I feel like, what was that? Something shifted. I got zapped or like what is going on? I will just feel something, you know, uh, and I'll ask myself, like, what is that? What am I feeling? Like, is that me? Or is that, I mean, am I picking up on other people's, you know, stuff? Or then when I learned astrology, I was like, oh, all right, well, I know that's coming from that planet and something changed signs or the moon shifted or I'm very sensitive to it, but I wanted to know because that's my little science experiment. Like just sitting on the dock of the bay, observing, and then, and everything's peaceful and quiet, and then a motorboat goes by. I, it's kind of the way I describe like the shift in the energy of the planets and I like to look at. Then I go and run and look at the chart and I'm like, ooh, what just changed? So I'm weird like that. But yeah, so that's why as I was preparing for the show and playing my music, I'm like, wow. This is a feeling I haven't had in a long time because usually it's inspired by a person, right? Like so you hear a song from the past and it inspires a feeling. It brings you back to that feeling. And then maybe, there were people that influenced that time of your life and contributed to that feeling, right? So I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. This is kind of nice. Anyway, I sat in that for a while and I had fun. But then I had to look at the chart because I'm like, there's still a part of me that's cranky. I need to know what's going on. Yeah, cranky. That's me. Cranky, crusty Capricorn. So let's look at the chart. I'm sorry, if you're on Twitter, you can't look at the chart because, wait a minute. Did I figure out how to do that? I might have. Hold on. Oh, that's right. I have to share my Zoom screen on which I have to share my iPad screen. So talk amongst yourselves. So I'm looking at the aspects for what's going on with Mars. Hit the red button and that will turn the phone off. Yes, the red button. There we go. That's all right. Yeah, of course. Live radio. Oh, all right, I think I got this. Is it? No, wait a minute. Oh, Lordy. All right, I'm sharing my Zoom screen. So I was looking at the aspects for Mars because Mars will go direct, as I was saying, on the 23rd at 17 degrees. I think it's 17, but we're going to check that out. 17 degrees of Cancer. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Um, and it's been rough. So these aspects have been rough. If you're having an easy time of it, that's good. I mean, like, I'm so happy for you. So happy for you. I'm Capricorn, so I'm affected and I'm cranky, so just deal with it because that's just the way it goes sometimes. I just want to make sure that we can say all of the windows that we need to say. And anyway, the strongest day for a planet when it is going retrograde, that's not the way I want to say that. The day that a planet goes retrograde or goes direct is usually, often, when we see the most prominent effects, let's say, of the planet and how it acts. I don't know if my audio is still streaming. I see that little spinny ball. I think I'm sharing screen. Let me just make sure. Screen is sharing over there. I might have too many browsers open. Oh, here we go. Caw. Caw. StreamYard shut me down. Let's see if it opens back up again. Anyway, wish I had music on hold. That would be nice. That'd be nice. Who loves you, pretty baby? Who's gonna help you through the night? Oh, I don't think I got kicked off the live stream. Lerp. I think I'm still on. The number is still at where it was, but I think I lost my viewers. Poopy, poopy pants. It's fine. Um, sharing my screen. Who loves you, pretty baby? I always wanted to sing in a cover band, either a cover band or just like a duo, where the guy plays guitar and I sing. It's like my dream. Or to be a backup singer for Steely Dan. One of those. I'll take one of those. Um, yeah, but I could never like, as far as the guitar playing guy, I could never find somebody to like learn the songs that I wanted to play, sing. Um, even though I worked an open mic for many years, it's like, dude, can you learn a song for me? It's like everybody all just about themselves or, help a sister out. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not muted. I'm sharing my screen. I lost all my viewers on the Twitter. That's fine. Anyway, so I was looking at Mars, the aspects to Mars. Mars goes direct on the 23rd. Mars has been squaring Chiron. That's been rough. It's not been a happy time. I mean, it's been difficult. Let's just say it. Let's just say it. It's been men behaving badly on steroids. Oh Lord, where have all the cowboys gone? Um, all right, so Mars squaring Chiron is really trying to reform his identity and figure out like, who am I? I'm not that guy I used to be. Like Stellar is trying to get his groove back. So shout out to the guys who are struggling. Just don't take it out on the people around you, okay? That's cranky Mars bullshit. Projecting it onto other people, making everyone else in your life suffer while you curl up in a little ball with your saggy diapers. It's just like, no, no, dude. Like, we're definitely here for you. We want to hear your feelings, but like, don't take them out on people. That's the dysfunctional Mars here. Anyway, I mean, who knows? Looking at where does this come from? Where does the anger come from? Where does the lack of uh, well-formed self, healthy self, selfhood, identity, agency, feeling of frustration from, of lack of agency or just not being recognized for who we are, feeling picked on, all that kind of thing. Feeling sorry, playing the victim. It's not a good Mars look. It's just not. And, you know, Mars, let's see. I feel like Mars and Virgo, I mean, Mars, when the moon was going through Virgo, just kind of like disappeared a little bit and like either lashed out and being hypercritical or and going totally off the rails. Um, you know, guys, men, guys or boys angry with their father, blaming their father for where they're at, or the lack of a father can be. Just some of the ways I see it playing out. You know, your your purview may be different, but now we're in Libra with the moon. We're looking at, as of yesterday, the moon was opposite Venus. Now looking at our our values, looking at our relationships, looking at what we want to attract, feeling like we are this new person in Aries. But, Venus and Aries can be very selfish too. So looking at the situation and saying, well, was it an issue of selfishness, self-focused, self-centered? Uh, sometimes you have to focus on yourself, and then other times you really have to like consider the other people. And in Libra, was there a balance? And the moon is coming up on an opposition to Chiron. So we seem to be reaching a point where we've got to sort out that balance. Like, how much of it is me? How much of it is it the other person? Um, how much it is the past, and how much have I changed? And what kind of a cycle am I here to break? I'm breaking my cycles from the past, but I'm breaking the cycles from the family's past, the family of origin and all of that. Great, amazing karmic stuff. I hope I'm still streaming on Twitter. There's nothing worse than sitting here yammering away and finding out that no one can hear me. Hang on. Oh, yep, I am. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right. Ooh, 13. Yay. We didn't really lose anybody. Okay, so Mars like really had me all up in my feels and looking at a lot of things, feeling it brought me back to the past. And so being in the past, because it's attached to a feeling, started thinking about, feeling like who I really am, my origin stories, if you will. And yeah, it was really a lovely, refreshing break because sometimes we need to be reminded. So, um, yeah, so I really started looking at Mars. And as I was saying, Mars will go direct. The moon is going to square Mars today. and it's going to oppose Chiron. So we really need to look at healing, right? Um, and looking for mentors and let's say male role models of like, masculinity or whatever, healthy expression of the masculine. We're moving towards that. We're healing a lot. Ugh. Okay, so but Venus, I have to say, Venus there in Aries and being at 7 degrees. She's not really aspecting anyone. She had an opposition from the moon yesterday. She's coming into a sextile with Jupiter, but not quite yet. Jupiter in Gemini. So it is learning and it's evaluating belief systems and it's bringing back hope, but hope in your own self, like ind individual hope, but hope in the individual and the power of the individual and the values of individuality. Um, Thinking of like, rugged individualism and pioneerism and stuff like that. And I would say a healthy attraction, perhaps, and more balance between masculine and feminine, females, males, our own masculine and feminine, obviously. And um, yeah, and maybe like a new way. New, new, new. We're seeing a lot of the new. Every time a planet crosses that Aries point at 0 Aries, Venus did it, and Mercury's going to do it, the sun's going to do it, and then uh, also we're looking at Saturn and Neptune this year shifting into Aries. I mean, everything is new. So I think we really are being forced to look at the old patterns and process emotions it can be very difficult. I'm just saying. So, um, be good to yourself. Cut people some slack, depending on who they are. If they're, someone in your life, obviously, who's a long-standing friend or a family member, or, someone that you're willing to work on the connection with, the relationship with. But if it's a new person, don't ignore the red flags. If there's anger issues, if there's addiction issues, if there's fighting in the family, I mean, of course, every situation is different, but definitely look at that if you're getting to know someone and say, because this is the time when someone will revert back to you know, their fallback dysfunctional patterns. And it will come up when Mars is stressed here. So, with the square to Mars, I mean, and the opposition to Chiron, there's an opportunity to heal things if you had a falling out with someone. Um, but Mars has still far to go in his evolutionary arc here, uh, as we're talking about Mars going direct. That'll be a shift, and that'll be a probably a relief, a turn for the better because we feel like we're moving forward. So I think it's late or very like late overnight, maybe on the 23rd, or it could be the morning of the 24th. It depends on where you're at. But Mars will go direct by about this time, the 23rd, 24th. Uh, but it'll take a little while to pick up speed. So Mars will have been trining to Saturn, which means it's time to do the hard work. It's time to define. It's time to look at your spiritual responsibility in this lifetime. And there can be a time bending sort of aspect to what's happening right now, to where, you can, in some ways, rewrite the past. And I feel like a lot of that is being done in the dream sphere, where you might not even be aware of it, but I do know that this is a possibility to live parts of your life with a person in such a way that it is not possible, it's not reality based, but in a certain realm it is in the astral. You can live this out and you can heal and you can repair and you can relive, let's say, in a certain way, um, relive the past with that person and heal it so that you are not in the waking time, um, just repeating and like, I don't know, it's like being on that same track and being subject to the laws, real law, the laws of space and time, where, you said that, you did that, that can't be changed. But what can change is how you feel about it and how you react today. So a lot of this is going on in the subconscious. We're not even aware of it. It's a process. We just need to cooperate with it and do some self-reflection. Take responsibility, be accountable for where we're at today, not blame our family, the other guy or whatever, or you're just, just your shit luck. That's just the way it is, whatever, whatever. But by the time Mars goes direct, Mercury will be in there, making that trine to Mars. So the mind and the actions and the cognitive understanding. We need Mercury and Pisces right now in order to understand things from a different perspective. From a Pisces perspective, it's not structured, it's not linear. It is what I just described to you. What I just described to you could be happening in the dream space, in the astral, and you're not aware of it. Or you can do it consciously to restructure and recreate the present reality in meditation intentionally. So there's that. And as Mars moves forward, he is going to square Chiron again. Wah, wah, wah. So it's sort of like, well, could it be a second chance not to fuck up this time? It could be whatever it is, whatever that niggling thing is, whatever that trigger is, whatever's pissing you off, whatever flips that switch that has been doing it since October. October was the first square Mars to Chiron. And it started the fight, let's just say. And that's when the fight started. So we're sort of reliving it. It may not come up exactly the way it was, but it's the same energy, similar theme. It could be the frustration coming up again. whatever it is, it's round two, or actually, no, round three. So by March 24th, so like a month later, Mars is squaring Chiron again. And, by that time, by the time that Mars goes direct, right after that, Mercury and Venus go retrograde, I think. This will be a very important Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, eclipse season. Like, holy crap. We have the eclipses, we have the lunar eclipse on March 14th. And then 2 weeks later, on the 29th, we have the solar eclipse, and the solar eclipse is in Aries. The Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde in Aries. So all of this is preparing us for the sun moving, when the sun moves into Aries, obviously, it's Aries season. It happens every year, but what we don't have all the time is Neptune in Aries. So when the sun goes into Aries on March 20th, Neptune is hanging on the cliff there, and Saturn will go into Aries and conjunct. We've like I don't know when that ever happened before. Definitely no one alive has seen it. The Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, yes. I have Saturn in Aries. I think my kid has Saturn in Aries because I had him around my Saturn return. So not such a huge deal, but we're going to have to talk more about that Saturn in Aries, maybe another show, because um, it's very interesting. Has a lot to do with authority, agency. Um, mm, there's a lot that's going to be going on, especially with Neptune coming in there. I've talked a little bit about it. I've posted, I've tweeted. I don't know if anyone's listening. But anyway, there's a big focus on Aries, which puts a big focus on Mars and Mars in Cancer, protecting the homeland, protecting the family because it feels like it's under attack. Protecting, well, protecting women. I mean, Mars in Cancer, Cancer being the mother, rules the breasts, females, and Mars is aggressive. Like, it's not great in Cancer. So, like, I mean, I don't like what I'm seeing coming up for the spring. It's not all horrible. Like, don't think that. But there's just a lot coming that we don't see, we haven't seen. Some of us have an inkling of what it is because every time we have aspects to the last few degrees of Pisces, it dredges up the bodies. It releases the Kraken from the deep. It exposes all of the lies, deception, you know, all of the illusion of this world that we've been living under. Um, because all the secrets are buried in there. It's religion and spirituality. It's pretty deep. It's the collective unconscious. It's everything that's been buried, repressed for so long. Anyway, it's going to be a crazy time. So, so yeah, I'm sorry, March, Mars, March, Mar. Mer, the sea. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. What I think it's exciting. Me, um, I really kind of like it because I'm a Uranian kind of person. Like my Aquarius planets love this. The eclipse, lunar eclipse is going to be happening on my Uranus, so that's pretty interesting. Um, I don't know. I just love like sudden, instant change, even when it's chaotic and not pleasant, like not even when it's not a positive thing. I've always felt like that's the time when you jump into action and people can do amazing feats of courage and bravery and ingenuity. So that's the way that I'm looking at it. You know, I don't shy away from a shitstorm. I'm kind of like, bring it. I get bored when things are too normal. Oh my God, it's terrible. I get bored when things are too normal. So, I have gotten better. I've matured. I don't stir shit up. Like I don't cause problems where there aren't any anymore, but I have been known to stew, to stir a few pots. So, yeah. What else did I want to talk about? Poor Mars. So Mars, let me show you something. And I'm happy, happy, happy that I can share my screen also with the Twitter peoples. So if you follow my posts, you will notice that I talk sometimes about planets being out of bounds. The moon does it twice a month. And planets do it also, and that's when they act like really extra. So, like the moon, when it's out of bounds, you'll see that people are like extra emotional, highly charged feeling. Um, but uh the thread, if you want to go back to my post and read it, I give all the dates of the Mars, like Mars direct, Mars's square to Chiron, but I talk about Mars being out of bounds. And what that means is, so the planets in the sky, they move from left to right, right? East, west. They also move from north to south, uh, above or below the imaginary line called the ecliptic. And um, when a planet goes over a certain number of degrees, which is like the average, it becomes out of bounds. So the planet will act, out of pocket. It'll be like extra. So Mars being out of bounds, Mars has been out of bounds for quite some time, yeah, now. And so that's Mars, the masculine, the anger or the assertive drive, let's say, is sort of like just not acting normal, not acting the way it normally would, like, or just being too much, going too far, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna go back to my little post here in my notes. Yeah, so Mars has been retrograde since December 6th. The first Mars Chiron square when Mars was direct before it went retrograde was back in October. Mm, Yeah, October 14th while he was direct, and then squared Chiron again in his retrograde phase on February 3rd. And then by March 24th, he's going to square Chiron again, having gone direct. So while the planet has to catch up to where it was, and it really doesn't get back to feeling himself until he leaves Cancer, he'll go into Leo. That's a fire sign, much happier. Mars will be much happier, and that's April 18th. Because people are always asking me, when are things going to change? This sucks. When's it going to change? I can't do shit. Like, all right, I'll let you know. Okay, so yeah, he'll be out of shadow by, I'm gonna say, the end of April. Shadow means the degree that he went station to go retrograde, which was 6 degrees of Leo. So he'll be out of this infantile stage. um, so, soggy diaper that leaks stage, end of April. So by May. Feeling so much better. Hopefully everything will be right in the world. But if you're looking at, let's say, oh, I don't know, let's think of it as a house and you're gutting the house, right? This is the renovation here where you're just like gutting it, right? And what are they doing in the government? They're gutting the government, just gutting it. And so as Mars makes his aspects, we're having some difficult times, difficult news. Um, I think with the retrogrades of Mercury and Venus, it's going to be the rebuilding, the talk about rebuilding, talk about like what the new structure looks like, how to rebuild it. They'll go back into Pisces and probably dredge up more pain. This is like having the band-aid ripped off. So that'll be more pain because we can't live in denial, right? Everybody's got to know what's going on. It all has to be exposed to us so that it can be healed. But this Mars has been a motherfucker. And I just wanted everyone to know that the end is in sight. When is he out of bounds? When is he out of his out of bounds phase? That would be because out of bounds, declination, it's degrees of declination. So at around 23 and somewhere around 23, I start to see it when the planet hits 23 degrees. And he's been 23. I mean, geez, he's been like 20. I think he went up to 26, something like that. That's far out of bounds. So that's crazy. But I think once a planet gets to be about 23 degrees, that's when I start feeling it. I start noticing it. So probably around April 10th, 11th, Mars will be calming down finally. So 7th, yeah, about the second week of April, Mars will start acting more normal. Mars, such a little bitch. But there is something to be said for stomping around. Now look at April 6th. Look at this. We've got, that's when Venus and Mercury are back in Pisces, making a trine to Mars. Because Mars is like, all right, we're not going to rehash the past. We're not going to fight anymore. It's time to just get shit done. Like, let's look at the things that we have been avoiding, you know, with Mercury and Mars, I'm sorry, Mercury and Venus, they're in retrograde. Yeah, it is going back to the past. Yeah, it's digging up a lot of crap. Could be, or it could be looking at where you're at today and saying, I know where I've been in the past, and I know the pattern that got me here, and it's not what I want anymore because this is not what I'm building. Like, this is not the house that I'm building. I'm not going to like tear down my whole house, gut it, and then build the same, like the same crappy wood paneling and, like nasty mustard colored 70s tile. The 70s were good for some things, for music, but not for interior decorating. I'm sorry. Although there were some pretty cool bean bags and shag rugs, but you know, we can have those. We can still have those, but no one needs mustard colored tile. No one. So this is an interesting time too, around April 6th. All right. Get in there, get messy, get therapy if you need it. Maybe maybe he'll want to talk about it by then. Him, Mars. So, did I cover everything that I wanted to cover? Neptune will be in Aries by then. I'm just wondering what that'll look like. I'll let you know. I mean, I will report because this is very personally affecting me in my chart. I have Pisces rising, but Aries is my first house. Saturn is in there. That's been a joy. As much fun as a wet blanket on your campfire when you're toasting your marshmallow for your s'mores and it was just about to be the perfect golden brown. Yeah. And then dad comes in and says, "That's it, time's up. Time to go to bed." That's like it's like Saturn in Aries. Ah. Anyway, so yeah, I was just discussing this with one of my Twitter friends who's also an astrologer. I say discussing. I mean, we were commenting on a thread, on a post. I commented on her post. Um, yeah, how it's interesting because the two planets are blending, Saturn and Neptune, while Saturn and Neptune have been in Pisces for so long, and we see the contradiction, right? The structure versus the formlessness of Pisces, the structure of Saturn, which is trying to define and find the boundaries and find the bodies in Pisces and make some sort of sense of it all. Then they're both going to step into Aries. So there's so much work being done right now in Pisces. So much work. That's why I say it's a lot of subconscious. It's a lot of, the collective unconscious. It's in the astral, in the dream world being worked out. That's why I say to people, like they find themselves in a situation and looking at it, it's like, how did I get here? How am I going to get out? Like, what does it all mean? What am I supposed to be learning from this? Just relax, relax. You're getting it on some level, and just, I think going with your gut about being in integrity is the most important thing because you don't know what you don't know until you know, right? So, how can you make a good choice if you're not fully informed? So, you make the best choice with the information that you have and, what you feel is best aligned with who you are today, your values, um, your sense of your sense of what is the word I'm looking for? Well, your identity, but your identity is connected to your values and integrity and values kind of go hand in hand, right? Right up there with accountability and responsibility. And going through Pisces season, I think we may see a lot of shame and blame, whether it's self-inflicted or the finger pointing coming from Virgo and the other and the criticism or integrating the past criticism and not taking it on. But there can be a tendency to fall into victimhood and martyrs, victims and martyrs, and the savior, um, victim savior complex, perpetrator and victim, and scapegoating. So a lot of that stuff I expect to come up with the eclipses um, in therapy. Maybe. I don't know. In therapy, if you go, but I therapize myself. I have a therapist. I just need somebody to listen to me, bitch. I actually really understand what's going on a lot better than the average bear. Sometimes I just need somebody to hear me, bitch. Just fucking listen. Listen without judgment and laugh when appropriate. Anyway, so that's kind of what I see coming up. The eclipses are always an exciting time. And, that's coming from me who loves change, who loves, when the game board is flipped over and it's like, okay, wow, that's done. We're ready to start a whole new season of as my stomach turns, as the world turns and then my stomach churns. Ah, world turning. Did I mention that already? I truly think I was meant to sing a cappella because otherwise God would have given me, you know, the right to play music without having to pay royalties or the money to pay the royalties or the platform or somehow. I almost had it, but whatever. So, God must want me to sing a cappella. So as the world turns and my stomach churns, I can't think of another rhyme. Oh, and my bridges burn. There we go. That's my wrap for the day. All righty then. I believe that's it. That's all. That's all I have to say about that subject. Yes, moon in Libra. Trying to find balance. Working on it. Working on it. But we got to work through the anger first. We got to figure out why things are reverting. Are things reverting? Are they reverting back to childhood? Is someone curled up in the fetal position? I almost said fecal position. Uh, all right. You know when I make stupid jokes, it's time to go. Okay, everybody. So where can you find me? I'm on the YouTube and I stream also my liveness on Twitter X. So follow me there. If you're interested in a reading, you can send me a private message. I believe you have to follow me in order to send me a DM that I'm going to see. Or you can email me at astrolunachick@gmail.com and we can talk about readings, what you're looking for, and tailor it to your personal needs. Where else can you find me? Yeah, that's about it. I'm on Instagram too, but who cares? It's really Twitter. I just really think like, I don't know. I'll still put my stuff up on YouTube, but Twitter X is my go-to soch. It's what I like. It's where I'm at. I finally have the algorithms sort of figured out, and my numbers are going up. Oh my God, just a couple of months ago, I finally surpassed my, like, so whatever the number of people that follow me surpassed the number of people that I follow. And for me, I felt like that's a symbolic tipping point. And from there, oh my gosh, I've gained so many followers. I'm almost up to 1,000. You have no idea. That's huge for me. Huge. Because for years and years and years, like on Facebook and whatever, I would post like the most amazing stuff. Like it took me time and effort and get no likes, like total crickets. And I felt kind of crappy about it for a long time. I'm like, all right, well, maybe maybe the people, maybe my friends are just not interested in astrology. And I thought, oh, maybe they're not seeing it. I don't know. And then I realized I didn't understand the algorithm for one. It was a combination of everything. Some people didn't care. Some people didn't see it. Um, and some of the posts that I would make put me in the do not promote category or like shadow banned. So I've been shadow banned since what, 2012? So I'm used to it. So I just plugged along. Like, if no one's gonna come and play in the sandbox, I'm still gonna play. I'm still on the playground. You know what I'm saying? I could still go on the swings. I can't do the teeter-totter, but I could swing on the swings and I can hang on the monkey bars and I can dig in the sand. And then, I kept doing that and finally I made friends. So, so yeah, many have come and gone over the years, but I still have the same core 5 people who like my posts. So please like this stream if you like it. This video if you're on YouTube or the stream on Twitter. Like it, share it, and follow if you are interested in astrology and you like the way I present it. Hit the little bell and you'll get notified of my new posts and when I go live with my amazing and brilliant and often twisted but unique view of the planets and the asteroids and the stars because I got bored of regular astrology. I needed to do something different. So, there you have it. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Come find me on whatever social you're on. Look for Astro Luna Chick. And that's it. Peace out. Enjoy your day, everyone. Ciao for now. Excuse moi.